If you're thinking about renovating a home, whether you're looking at remodeling your own house or you're doing a remodel for a house flip, the process can be super intimidating and overwhelming, especially when you start to think about how much everything is going to cost. And to make matters even worse, you're going to find that once you start interviewing different contractors for your job, you're going to get very different answers on how much money it will take to accomplish your goals. So in today's video, I'm going to break down the cost of every single major part of a home renovation so you can be more prepared if you look to renovate your home or do a house flip in the future. We're going to go line by line on every single item that you could expect to spend money on when you're renovating a home, and then of course at the end we'll tally it all up and we'll give a final figure. And as many of you know, if you've been following me for a while, I'm actually based out of Arizona, so keep in mind that these numbers could vary a little bit based on what region you're in, but it should at least give you a ballpark on what everything costs. All right, so for the sake of this example, we're going to look at a 1,600 square foot, 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom house because according to Zillow, that's the average size single family home in America. And this will be a great point of reference for me as well because this is about the exact size of the past couple of house flips that I've completed. Plus, like I said before, just remember that we're going to be looking at remodeling corner to corner every single bit of your house. So if your remodel requires a little less work, just feel free to extract those numbers from this equation. Hey, and one thing real quick before we get into it, you guys are going to see that this video took a lot longer to shoot than normal because I kind of take you guys all over the house to show you the different spaces when we're talking about how much everything costs. So if you wouldn't mind, if you could just hit the like button for me now, that'll really help to support this video and my channel. All right, let's get back to it. So first let's talk about all the boring stuff, which these are the mechanical items that you don't really get to visually see or enjoy. But these items are really important to consider replacing or renovating when you're doing the rest of your house because you'll already have all the walls opened up anyway. Plus these items are more safety focused, which is important whether you're doing this house for yourself or as an investor as a house flip. There's 6 items total on this list, and unfortunately, all of them are pretty costly. And the first item on this list is the roof. Now the roof might need either repaired or replaced when you're renovating a house, but it's important that it's obviously watertight and weatherproof because it's protecting the rest of your house from damage. Regardless of what climate you're in, the most common roof type is a 30-year asphalt shingle, also known as architectural shingles. They come in a variety of colors, so if you need to replace the entire roof on your house, you can choose different colors to match the rest of the aesthetic of your home, which is nice. And the average cost to replace your roof, if you're needing to remove your old roof and then replace it with these 30-year asphalt shingles on a 1,600 square foot home is about $8,000. And the second item on the list that you want to consider either repairing or replacing is the HVAC system, which is the heating and cooling system in your home. Now the costs on these units vary for a few reasons, and one is whether they're mounted on the roof or whether they're mounted on the side yard, and of course also based on the size of your house. But the average cost to replace the HVAC system in your home is about $5,500, so this is another very pricey one, but it's also very important, especially if you're in an extreme climate. And the third item that definitely meets the boring and pricey criteria is considering replacing the sewer system. Now this is something that's extremely common in my area because most of the houses that I work on are about 60 years old, and that's about the shelf life of a sewer system around here. It's a very invasive process to replace the sewer line in your home. They need a trench through the house and through the yard, so if you're looking to replace this item, unfortunately it's going to set you back about $14,000. And the fourth item that's not visually exciting on this list today is the plumbing, and these are the water lines that run throughout your house. They feed the faucets and the shower heads and the tubs and the toilets. These water lines do not last forever, so it's recommended to have them inspected and potentially replaced. And if you're looking to have your entire house replumbed with more modern PEX piping, that'll set you back about $5,000. And then the next one that you might want to consider either repairing or replacing is the electrical system in your house. And again, this really only applies more to older homes, but if you're looking at replacing the electrical system throughout, which means all of the wiring that runs through your attic and through your walls, plus potentially replacing a panel, you're looking at about $5,000 for this one as well. And the sixth and final one on our list before we move on to the fun stuff is the hot water heater. So for the water heaters, you have the option to go with a regular tank water heater or a tankless water heater. And depending on which option you choose, this will set you back about $1,500 for the materials and labor. So like I said, none of these items are necessarily super exciting and they're all definitely super expensive, but I recommend considering replacing or repairing all of these items when you're doing a house flip or you're remodeling a house for yourself, just because it'll give you some extra peace of mind. So now that we have all the boring stuff out of the way, let's move on to the fun stuff, which is the finishes. This is the part of the home remodel process that I really enjoy because you get to be creative and put your own flavor on the house, and there's just so many decisions that need to be made. We're gonna break this section down into a total of 10 different buckets, which again will cover all your bases if you're looking to remodel every corner of your home. All right, so up first is the kitchen, and this is the focal point of most modern homes, so because of that, it's one of the most expensive rooms to remodel. When you do the cabinets, the countertops, the appliances, the sink, the faucet, and the backsplash, you're looking at about $15,000. Up next is the bathrooms, and when you look at replacing the vanity, the sink, the faucet, the mirror, the light, the tub, all the wall tile, and the toilet, bathrooms are gonna set you back about $7,000 a piece. All right, next up is the laundry room, and not all homes have laundry rooms, but most of the ones in my area that I work on do. So I set aside about $4,000 for this room, which includes the flooring, the plumbing, a sink, the washer, the dryer, and some cabinetry. Flooring is next up on our list, and of course, depending on the material you pick, this number can vary a lot, but I budget about $7.50 per square foot for flooring. That includes labor and materials, so it'll run you about $12,000 in total for a 1,600 square foot home. One of my favorites is paint. So you guys have probably noticed I painted my entire house white, and for good reason. It's relatively affordable, and when you paint everything all one cohesive color, it just looks amazing, and it's such a big upgrade at a relatively low cost. This will set you back about $5,000 to paint everything in your house. And speaking of trim, if you plan to replace all the baseboards and casing in your house, plan to spend about $2,500 for this upgrade. So the doors and the windows are another big one. You don't need to replace the doors and windows in your house if you already have nice dual pane windows, but if you are required to replace everything in the house due to them being less energy efficient, you're looking at about $6,000 for this upgrade. So the next one up on our list is drywall, and this one comes up commonly for me because I'm working on houses that are 60 or 70 years old, so they almost always need drywall work. You have the option to retexture the drywall throughout your house, which is going to set you back about $1,500, but if you need to literally pull off all the drywall and replace it with new drywall, that'll set you back closer to $5,000. And then we've got the finish electrical, which is all of your ceiling lights and fans throughout the house. And of course, this one will vary greatly depending on exactly which fixtures you pick out, but expect to spend somewhere around $2,500 to replace all the light fixtures and fans throughout your house with new ones. And then plan to spend even more than that if you're putting can lights in or light fixtures in any place where there wasn't formerly a light fixture. All right, guys, and the last item on the list is landscaping, which mine is pretty embarrassing right now because we're in the middle of completely redoing our landscaping. But if you're doing your front and backyard in landscaping with just basic grass, rocks, pavers, and some plants, you're looking at around $15,000 in total for an average size lot, which in America is about 0.2 acres or 8,500 feet. All right, so I know that was a lot of stuff and we moved pretty fast, so if you want me to elaborate on any of these items, please let me know about it in the comments below, or if you feel like you need to go back and rewatch, feel free to do that too. But when you tally it all up and you consider that you do everything that we talked about today on the mechanical list and also everything that we talked about today on the cosmetic list, you're looking at about $120,000 to do this full gut renovation to your home. So first of all, it should go without saying that it is pretty rare that literally every item on these lists would be required to be completed if you're remodeling your home. Plus, this only amounts to about $75 per square foot since we used a 1,600 square foot home in our example, and that ends up being much cheaper than if you were to build a new home, which would run you about $350,000 for a home this size. And I also should mention that if you choose to hire a general contractor for this job, which most people do because it's just a lot easier to delegate all of the work of subbing everything out to a general contractor as opposed to hiring all the individual contractors yourself, you're going to pay a fee on top of that of probably $15,000 to $20,000 just for their services. I hope this breakdown was helpful for you guys if you're thinking about doing a remodel on your house sometime soon, or you're thinking about getting into house flipping. And I post videos similar to this every week, and so if you haven't already, think about hitting the subscribe button and following along. But that's all I've got for you guys this time, so until next time, see ya!